Today we're going to be learning about texture, actual texture and implied texture. So actual texture, it says in a little description here, is 3D texture. So that refers to the way an object feels to the touch. And then we're going to be also using visual texture or implied texture. That's the illusion of a textured surface. Okay, so I usually refer to it as actual texture and implied texture. So we're going to create these cute scarecrows today, and we are going to be using a bunch of different materials in order to create these two different types of texture. So let's look at the materials down here. You're going to be needing large white paper. If you don't have large paper, use a smaller piece of paper. It is perfectly fine. A pencil, crayons, or colored pencils, construction paper. If you don't have construction paper, you can use plain paper that you can color and then cut out like construction paper. A brown paper bag or a lunch bag, and fabric or pattern paper. If you don't have pattern paper, you can always draw patterns on plain paper and use that for your pattern paper. Yarn. If you don't have yarn, that is also okay. We will be using paper instead. And then scissors and glue. So for those people who do not have the capability to watch the tutorial on video, you're going to be going through the steps down here. Otherwise, you can follow along with this video.
All right, so the first thing you are going to do is to make a landscape in the background for your scarecrow. You're going to start with a pencil and draw a line about a third of the way down your paper. So if you look at your paper, about a third of the way down is, let's see, dividing your paper into three, about right here. And you're just going to make a line. It can be kind of wavy. This is going to be the land. This is going to be the sky. Let me check this out and see. I guess it looks all right. All right, and then you're going to draw a bunch of flowers on your paper, and you're going to draw some clouds in the sky. Okay. So I don't know how well you can see this. I am going to try to draw mine a little bit darker so that you can see it well. But you may want to draw it lighter in case you need to erase. I like to make a couple little baby ones. All right, and then we're going to draw a bunch of flowers. So if you look at the example on the lesson plan, there are a bunch of different flowers. Of course, if you're going to use actual space, the ones in the background would be a lot smaller than the ones in the foreground. You don't really need to make stems on them yet because they're going to be like in a field of long grass. So go ahead and just start creating your flowers. I am probably going to fast forward this so it doesn't take forever to watch me, because there's going to be a lot of flowers to draw on here. All right, so now I have all of the flowers colored in, and I used colored pencil for that. I used crayon to color in the clouds white, and I also traced with a little blue-green colored pencil around the outsides of the clouds. So for texture, that's what we're going to do next. We're going to do some grass in the field and color in the sky. I'm going to use colored pencil for this. I've picked out like 3 different colored pencils because I want my grass to be kind of more of a yellow sort of. It could be spring, it could be fall type grass. So I've got a green and I've got kind of a couple of orangey looking yellows. And what I found, I was looking around my house trying to find something that I could use for texture, and I decided to use just a cardboard box. So there's like this corrugated material. It's not going to create a huge amount of texture, but it's going to be enough. And then the way that I want you to actually use your colored pencil, it's going to also create some texture, because we're going to kind of do like more of a line pattern going up and down, because your grass would be growing that way. So that is what we're going to do. And I'm just going to keep randomly switching out my colors. So I'm using a colored pencil. You could use a crayon for this too. And I don't want to color too hard over my pretty flowers that I just made, but you can see how this is creating like lines, and it's also creating a texture with the cardboard. Okay, I might get a brighter color yellow too. So anyways, I'm just gonna play around and continue adding some lines and some texture. Okay, now for the sky. I am going to go, I'm going to do my texture going across this way for this guy. Let's see how that comes out. Do not go over your clouds. Try to go around them. All right, so here is all of this implied texture that I have going on. I think it looks pretty cool. And now we're going to move on to the next part.